So, my job now is to introduce to you from Bernie's national organizing staff, a woman from Costa Mesa. Her name is Cece Hall.
I'm gonna come over here. Hi, welcome. Say that louder. Hello. All right, awesome. First of all, this is such an exciting experience. I hope you feel it too. That this is a volunteer-driven campaign. Truly, it's a political revolution. Yeah. And what I'd like to do, well, first of all, I'm curious. How many people have never done a volunteer activity for Bernie Sanders? This is your first one. Raise your hand. Right on. Welcome. That's awesome. Okay, now how many folks have already done volunteer activities for Bernie Sanders? Ow. Yes. Okay, there's some of you that didn't raise your hand, so we'll get to that later. I'm going to be auditing the crowd here in a second. No, I'm kidding. Okay, now another question is, how many people is this the first presidential campaign that you've gotten this involved in? Raise your hand. Nice. Okay, now for folks who are a little older, keep all hands up. But for folks who are a little older, how many of you, this is a long time since you've been this involved in a presidential campaign? Okay, all right. That is amazing. Right on. Okay, well, what I'd like to do is introductions, but I can't talk to all of you at this second. I think we would be here till maybe Iowa's caucus in February if we tried to do that, right? It's right around the corner. But what I'd like to do is, if you guys could just take a couple minutes, find someone you don't know, and talk about why each of you supports Bernie Sanders. So we'll give it a couple minutes to do that, okay? All right, somebody you don't know. Wrap up. Okay, so we could do this for a while, right? I mean, once we get started talking about Bernie, it's hard to stop, which is awesome. And I got a chance to overhear a few thoughts, but I would like to hear from some of you. So what would be great is I'm going to get down and walk around and pick some people. Okay, she's like, don't pick me, don't pick me. No, don't pick me. Can you tell us why you support Bernie Sanders, and what's your name?
My name is Miriam, and I support him ever since I heard of him 4 years ago in the Tom Hartman show with Brunch with Bernie, and ever since then I related to a lot of the topics he's talked about, and I've been waiting for him to run, for president. And when he announced, I was like, okay, I'm sorry, Hillary, but I'm down for Bernie, so I've been here, so.
Nice, thank you.
Riverside.
All right, I think we're in the safe zone. Okay, it's David, right? Why do you support Bernie?
Because he's honest and he's consistent for his whole political career. And he reminds me of life.
Thank you. All right, great. I'm afraid to go any further. Here, you come here. Yes, you. Step back a little more. Okay, all right. I don't know where they are. It's magic speakers. Okay, so what is your name?
Corey. Because the political establishment has spent too much money and spent too much money lobbying to get the legislation they want to get passed, while the middle class has dwindled. And I've been following Bernie since his senatorial career started. So I've always been a big Bernie fan. I was actually going to vote for Hillary, but once I heard Bernie was running, that's when I switched it over. So,
Very carefully walk back to my corner here. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if everyone heard Bill, but that was awesome that taking money out of the political system. I mean, Bernie can't be bought, and that's the bottom line. I'm gonna find a better way to clap, I swear. All right, it was my feet. Yeah, that implies I'm more nimble than I really am. Okay, great. So thank you guys for sharing that, for taking time to get to know each other. We're going to have more opportunities for that, I promise. But what I'd like to do now, I'll just share quickly my own story. So I've been in corporate America for 21 years. Don't hate me. I know, I can tell, I can see right away. You know, that's not a bad place to be at a certain time. But I'm going to tell you what I've noticed over the past 10 years. And Bernie nailed it. I think it was 2003 that he's given the what for to Alan Greenspan, former chairman of the Federal Reserve, saying you're creating a mess. He totally nailed it, right? I've seen people I know that their jobs, you know, they moved to San Antonio for their job, and 2 years later their jobs were sent to Manila, and they weren't. Outsourcing, restructuring, reorganizing, downsizing. Basically any 3 syllables in corporate America means you're screwed. Yeah. And so I loved what I did, but I started not liking the industry I was in and where it was going. And that, hearing Bernie really spoke to me. And when he announced his presidential candidacy, I was like, yes! In fact, how many people here saw the live stream July 29th of Bernie? Okay, cool. Don't worry, you're going to get another opportunity. January 23rd, he's doing another live stream. So Bernie and you in your living room, bring some friends over. He's going to talk just to us. No talk show, no news anchor, just Bernie and us. And I love the live streams that he's done. So that one's coming up January 23rd. Mark your calendar. Have a house party. Bring friends over, chips and dip, maybe some wine, whatever works. But that July 29th live stream, I think I texted work. Remember they said text work to 82663? I think I texted it like 15 times. I was like, I'm so ready, I'm so ready. So I'm super excited to be a part of this and have a chance to talk to you guys. On the campaign front, just to give you kind of an idea of where we're at. First of all, how many folks here contributed to the campaign? Oh my gosh. Woo! Wow. Follow-up question, how many people here, this is the first time you've contributed to a presidential campaign? Wow, right on. Okay. So what that did, all the contributions, first of all, just to share a little fact, Obama, when he got to the Iowa caucus, had 1 million individual contributions, right? That was amazing. People are like, wow. Bernie did that about 4 months ago. Yeah, that's pretty profound right there. I know, I'm going to have to keep clapping here.
It's why Hillary's going to lose.
Yes. And so what that did, what your contributions allowed, it allowed Bernie to, in the 4 states, there's 4 states in February, and let's see if we could name them all together. The primaries in February. Okay, so we have Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina. All right, everyone gets the last 2 intertwined, it's okay. But yeah, so we've got Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, right? And that's the beginning of the race, honestly. Those 4 contests kind of determine what's going to happen in the rest of the primary season. Now in California, we've got June 7th, right? So it's kind of, yay! It's kind of like being invited to the dinner party just in time to do the dishes. That's right. Everybody's done everything.
Hey, but if you don't do the dishes, then the kitchen gets stinky.
There's that, yeah, there's that. What we do bring to the table is delegates. We are a powerhouse of delegates, right? So that's dessert, okay? We come to the dinner party in time for dessert. Here's dessert. But overall, it's really everybody else is ahead of us. And so those 4 states in February are huge for Bernie. We need him to trend well. We need him to sweep those states, to win those states, for that momentum to continue through the rest of the season. So by the time we get to the primary here in California, it's like done. You know, I can't drop the mic because I think I'll break it, but boom, right? I think I will break it. Anyways, so that's really important to have that strong start. And what your contributions allowed to have happen is that we're going toe to toe with our billionaire-backed opponent. I have to remind myself I can't say that. Our billionaire-backed opponent, we're going toe to toe in Iowa and New Hampshire.
And her
That's
hedge
amazing.
fund daughter.
And so what that means, yeah, let's give a round of applause for that. So we're staffed in Iowa and New Hampshire. I mean, I was joking with someone, another distributed organizer. By the way, the team national organizing, there's only a handful of us because there's so many of you. It's great. You know, we just get to work with all the volunteers, and I love that. But there's just a handful of us, and so one of them, Zach, I don't know if anyone knows Zach. Yay, Zach. Yoli, what are you doing hiding in the corner? That's okay, honey, you can stay in the corner. Yeah, no, that's good, go ahead. Just wasn't expecting a little voice over there. But I was talking with Zach, and he got to go to New Hampshire, and he's like, everywhere I went, there were Bernie staff. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, there's like, I don't know how many, New Hampshire's not very big to begin with, but let's just say there's like 60 some odd people and 30 some odd campaign offices and then field organizers, and that's amazing. Same thing with Iowa. We're covering Iowa, right? So we've got lots of campaign offices, lots of field organizers, regional directors, tons of amazing volunteers that are making it happen. And even though our billionaire-backed opponent is flooding the radio and TV with millions of dollars of ads, we're still ahead. Are there any children here? Okay, we're still kicking butt in Iowa and New Hampshire. Well, we're getting there. Hold on, man, I'm in the first two primaries. I'm getting there. So, but now that means that, and that's because of you guys, by the way. I mean, that's not possible otherwise without the contributions that have come in. And so what's interesting is all that money is going into advertising, and yet we're still ahead in New Hampshire and very close on the edge, like neck and neck in Iowa, because of talking to each other. And that's the best way to get support, is actually peer-to-peer conversations, talking to voters. And that's what they're doing.
4 points ahead in Iowa on the latest poll as of today.
I don't know if you heard that. 4 points ahead in Iowa. I gotta tell you, polls to me are kind of like movie reviews. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good or bad movie. It's just a lot of people saw it and posted about it or gave their review. But it is a nice indication. I do like that. And it trends. Because of that, other people are taking Bernie seriously, and that's very important. But we're right edge and edge in Iowa.
Not the media.
But now we have Nevada and South Carolina, right? And so Nevada's February 20th, South Carolina's February 27th, and they're coming up. I mean, it's getting there. There's like 5 campaign offices, and I think 4 or 5 in the Vegas area. There's about 30 staff members for the whole state. They have a few more offices in Reno. And then South Carolina, about the same story. And they're doing a ton of work as well. But it's still going to be a heavy and hard race the whole time. And so that's where we come into play, actually. When we're looking at these states, the biggest way that we can make the difference is talking to the voters. Now, you can go to Nevada and canvass. In fact, I'm just curious, is anyone wanting to or gone already? Okay, great. Okay, we can go to Nevada, but that's kind of hard. And not only that, it's going to be hard to hit everybody. And it's great if you can do it, but not everyone can do it. And so one thing that we can do is we can reach out to voters by phone. And it does work, actually, talking to voters.
I've been to 2 phone bank parties already.
That's awesome. So reaching out by phone really does work in talking to voters and getting the support. And it's actually a really amazing system that we've been able to do. So let me just share with you kind of the process of how this has come about. So it started with voter ID calls, and how we know who to call is we use voter registration records. Okay, so that's available to the campaign. And so we started calling Iowa and New Hampshire. And because of that, what the types of calls we're making are called voter ID calls. So we're not talking on the phone trying to persuade people right then and there. What we're doing is we're really asking just two questions. Are you going to vote? And which candidate are you supporting? And that's it. So these conversations are about 3 minutes. But
Mr. John and start arguing about the NRA.
don't follow John's example. Yeah, not recommended. But yeah, so there are 3 minutes roughly per conversation. And we're entering that information onto a system so that Iowa and New Hampshire, the boots on the ground, can follow up with certain voters. There's not a lot of time, right? I mean, we're weeks away from the primary season starting. And so when we talk to voters and we ask them which candidate they're supporting, we're identifying those that are undecided and those that are leaning towards Bernie. Okay, in addition to others, but those are the two keys, because in Iowa, in New Hampshire, they are following up with those undecided voters. They're following up with those voters that are leaning towards Bernie. And they're knocking on their doors, they're inviting them to events, they're calling and following up again, because those are the voters that are most likely to help them win their primary. Now, if somebody's strong other candidate supporter, we're not going to waste our time trying to convince them. It's not worth it. They're digging their heels in. As soon as they hear Bernie Sanders, they're like, I'm ready. Right? Oh, you can't see my heels. They're dug in. Yeah, I'm ready. So we're not wasting our time there. But there's a lot of undecided voters, and there's a lot of leaning towards Bernie voters. And leaning towards Bernie voters are so cute. My dad is one of them. Yeah. He's a Republican. I know. I still love him. It's okay. You know, it's a fun Thanksgiving, every conversation. But anyways, he says to me, he goes, if Bernie makes it to the general election, I think I'm going to vote for him. Now, I just want to shake him when he says that, right? Like, I'm like, Dad, you know who I work for, right? He's like, yeah, I'm really proud of you. That's why I'm considering Bernie. All right, Dad, thanks. That's a leaning towards Bernie, right? So that's someone that I really want to sick someone from Iowa and New Hampshire, and I'm like, go knock on his door. I'm still working on him. But anyways, long story short, that's somebody that if they have a peer-to-peer conversation, is going to become a strong Bernie supporter. Yeah. So we make these calls, and now we're calling into Nevada and South Carolina. By the way, we ran out of voters to call in New Hampshire. Is that awesome or what? Yeah, they scrounged up some more, so I think we're going to be calling a few more, but that we actually did, which is amazing. So we're still calling into Iowa, and then now calling into Nevada and South Carolina. Same thing, 3-minute conversations. Are you going to vote? Which candidate are you supporting? Because we're giving the staff and volunteers in that state the right people to focus on, to prioritize, because again, they don't have a lot of time, so they can't knock on all the doors. They can't call all the voters, but we let them know who's undecided, who's leaning towards Bernie, so they can make better use of their time and win their primary or caucus. That's a pretty amazing approach. And then this is something that's even more cool. So now you're probably wondering, okay, after February 1st, I was done, right? No. So each state, as their primary comes up, followed by the way, Super Tuesday, March 1st, which is 11 primaries. Well, there's 12, but let's not count GOP in Alaska. So I don't care about that one. But there's 11 primaries on March 1st, Super Tuesday. And so what's happening is that these states, as they finish their primary in February, they're keeping the lease in their offices, they're keeping the staff, and they're switching gears and calling into the other states. So that, yeah, isn't that amazing? So then as Iowa and New Hampshire get through their primaries, then they're going to switch gears, start focusing more on Nevada, South Carolina. Then everybody's going to switch gears, start focusing more on the 11 states on Super Tuesday. And it's going to be like this big national kumbaya of calling. It's amazing. So give a round of applause for that. That's a pretty cool job. And do you know who's making these calls?
We are.
We are, right? Yeah. So think of it this way, and this is the defining difference. This is what makes this campaign magical, the political revolution, that our other candidate, the billionaire opponent, candidate, doesn't have the army of people that we do. And that's how this is possible. That's how we ran out of people to call in New Hampshire, right? And so just to give you an idea, we have, this past weekend, there was a big call to action. A lot of people were calling for Bernie. In fact, I'm curious, was anybody phone banking this past weekend for Bernie Sanders? Amen, right on. Okay, so just so you know, 97,000 conversations happened this past weekend. Wow. And we only have 1.5 million more to go through February. Yeah, it's totally doable, totally doable. So that's where, and this is what's also pretty profound, is some of these are caucus states. And caucus is very different than primaries. Has anyone ever been or heard of a caucus before? Okay, all right. So for those of you that haven't, I'm with you. When I first started this campaign, I had to like Google caucus, look at videos. I'm like, this is fascinating. It really is. So a caucus is basically, in California we have a secret ballot primary. You walk in, hopefully there's not a line, you go into this little fabric booth, you fill out something, no one knows what you're doing, there's no talking, drop the ballot. In a caucus state, what they do is they actually have all the voters in areas called precincts come together to caucus. Fun fact about caucus, by the way, that word is both a noun and a verb. So you can go to a caucus and you can caucus for a candidate. And so they all come together in this room and they talk about who they're supporting. Yeah, there's no secret ballot, they talk. And you can see who's supporting whom, right? So like you could, let's say I'm over here on the Bernie side of the room, right? I'm talking with Bernie, my Bernie fellow volunteers, we're like, this is great. I look over and, what's her name? Grace. I'm like, Grace, you're on the Hillary side. What are you doing? Come over here. And she'll be like, oh darn, I didn't realize. And she'll like come over this side. Seriously, that's how it is. Like people can see who's supporting whom, and they talk about it for a couple hours. Yeah. So calling into caucus states is even more profound because people are used to talking about who they support, and turnout for caucuses is usually lower than primaries. So, for example, in parts of Iowa, they're lucky if they get 20% of the registered voters to come.
Because it's cold.
Right. I was just going to say that. You're not exactly frolicking in the streets in Iowa in February. Yeah, I know.
I caucused in Iowa twice.
Oh, okay. I've only driven through that time of year. It's not somewhere I want to stop. You know, if I didn't have like a reason to, like Bernie, I wouldn't. But that makes a big difference. So those calls are even more powerful because it's turning out, like I would love to see a higher percentage of voter turnout in these states just from our conversations and the actions that we're taking here. That would be amazing, right? So February, let's see, February 20th is Nevada. That's a Democratic caucus. And same thing, February 1st, Iowa, both Democratic caucus. Washington, just a side note, because this is fascinating to me, is an open caucus, March 26th. So now you've got all parties in the room talking, right? That's a hot mess. I could just imagine. Like, I want to go there just to see it in videotape. Like, I got to see like all these Republicans and Independents in Washington State. What was that?
So it's a Democratic only caucus. Anyone from any registration, because there's no party registration.
Oh, okay. Basically, yeah. So it's an open primary, right?
So the Democratic Party hosts their caucuses, and the Republican Party has the primary.
Okay, great. So basically the caucus process is like old school democracy. It's very transparent. That's how it used to be. People would actually talk about who they're supporting. And so it gets people, when we make these calls and talk to voters, and when there's canvassing action in state, it gets people in that frame of mind to not only show up, because that's number one, right? We need the Bernie supporters to show up to the primaries, but also to be prepared to, if they have to, talk about it and help these other states. And that's how we're going to get Bernie to that's how it's going to make a difference in our primary, is if we can get that trend happening early on so that other states see what's going on later in the primary. And that's what makes Bernie electable as well. If he does well in February, I don't know how many people have heard, that they like Bernie, but they don't think he's electable, right? Yeah. Again, I'm like, I just want to shake you.
Neither was Kennedy or Truman or all those other people. They weren't either. Neither was Obama.
They said the same about Obama in 2008, and look what happened. I see a repeat.
Yes, right? That's the plan. So my point being about electable. Oh yeah. So when we start winning early in the primary season, then that changes those people. In fact, it's almost as powerful as those conversations we're trying to have, because then they start to believe he is electable, and people that are on the fence now hop over onto Bernie's side. So we're literally weeks away from this moment, and there's a huge call to action that we want to take. And so I'm curious, and I know this is a big ask, but how many people here would be willing to call voters for Bernie? Right on! Yes! Wait, big hand. All right, now, another just quick question. How many people have ever called for a campaign before? Okay. Bernie's. Okay, all right. Well, what's lovely about calling now is how different it is from past campaigns. So back in the day, you would have like this poor person would have to print out all these lists, and then everyone would write on them as they're calling, hand dialing each number, calling, and then that same poor person would have to gather all those lists and compile the information so that it could be used by the early primary states, right? But now it's all online, and it's pretty amazing. So what we're doing, we have two ways to call. If you still want the feeling and sentimentality of dialing the number, you can. I don't really recommend it. It's not the most effective amount of your time, but some people really like it, and that's okay. It's still calling. So on average, you're going to probably dial about 30, 40 numbers an hour, and you're going to talk to about 5 people. It's going to be a long afternoon, but you can make it. It still works. But we actually have this new tool, and it's a website also called the Bernie Dialer. Yeah.
Used it.
All right. You guys are the best front row ever. I feel right.
And been abused by it.
Used and abused by it. All right. So the Bernie Dialer is a website, and it's not a predictive dialer. Okay, so just to clarify, and the reason why I have to clarify is, and this is an interesting fact, half the voter registration records that we're calling on, about half of them are cell phone numbers. Yeah, I was thinking it'd probably be like 20%, 30%, right? Because you have to fill that information out when you register. And people have been registered for a long time, which means chances are they're mostly landlines. No, about half of the calls we're making are to cell phones. Well, you can't legally use a predictive dialer for cell phones. There's a huge fine. I think it's like $16,000 per call. Yeah, only in America too. And in Europe and everywhere else they're laughing. They're like, we use that all the time. But in America you can't. And I actually kind of appreciate that, actually. I understand why. So what we have is a website that quickly dials for us. And how it works, this is really fascinating. So there's a website, right? And you're using it to call. Behind the scenes, there's a team of 160 volunteers that are manually feeding numbers into the website to be dialed for you. So you call into the website, as we're talking to voters, right? We're going to talk to voters, so we call into the website. That connects our phone to the website. And only answered calls are transferred to your phone. So now you're talking to about 15 to 20 voters an hour. Yeah, that's pretty profound. But there's this team behind it. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Never mind the man behind the curtain. There's this team of volunteers that every day, and they take shifts, they line up for it, and they just literally like hit enter every time a round of numbers comes up. They're click, 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 click. And then they all get launched into the website. The calls are made, and only answered calls, are transferred to your phone. That's how we get around the predictive dialer issue. Isn't that amazing? And that's how we did 97,000 conversations last weekend. Because up until then, we were lucky if we were breaking like 4,000, 5,000 weekend. Which, when you're talking about 3 million people we need to get a hold of, that would be okay if this was like August. But it's January, and we're coming fast upon the primary season. So using the Bernie Dialer, what you do is you just call into the website. So you log in, and then it'll give you a phone number. And you're going to call from the phone you're going to use to talk to voters. And then at that point, you'll hear, this is really cool, behind the scenes magic is happening, just wait. Every 15 seconds, you'll hear a beep, right? And as soon as you hear that beep, that means an answered call has been transferred to your phone. So you're going to start right away. You're going to say, hello, hi, this is Cece. I'm a volunteer with the Bernie Sanders presidential campaign. How are you doing? because they've already answered the phone. And then you continue on with your questions. A couple minutes later, you enter the information on the website, which candidate are they supporting, and then disconnect. Don't hang up your physical phone. By the way, the first time I used the Bernie dialer, I was like, I talked to a voter and I was like, this is so great, and I hit end call. And then I was like, oh, damn, I'm no longer connected to the website. I gotta log back in and dial back in. So the on the website itself is where you can end the call. Don't physically hang up your phone. But anyway, so the first time I used it, after that little learning curve, which if you make that mistake, a lot of people do, don't feel bad, just call back in, it happens. But after that, when the call was disconnected, about 15 seconds later, I hear a beep, and then I go, hi, this is Cece, I'm calling, and just keep going. And it was like a mad rush, like it was the most fun and intense hour of calls that I've ever made, because I've done a lot of phone banking the old-fashioned way. And so to have this machine basically sending me answered calls only made me way more effective on the phone, right? Talking to 15 to 20 voters an hour, you can't even canvass that well. I mean, knocking on doors, it's going to take a lot longer to talk to 15 to 20. So the Bernie Dialer website, what you're going to need to use it is you're going to need internet access. I know, there goes that. Yeah. Internet access. You're going to need some type of device to access the internet. Unfortunately, smartphones don't work. So laptop, computer, certain tablets or iPads. The secret is that the website uses pop-up, and if you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't worry. I'm going to tell you where to find the answers so you don't have to remember this. But the Bernie Dialer uses pop-ups and flash. So you have to have a browser that allows that. On iPads, Androids, Puffin is a browser that does that, and then iPads, I believe Photon also. This is all found on the Bernie website, which I'll give you that address in just a second. And then of course you're going to need a phone to call into the website. And it could be your cell phone, it could be a landline. I don't recommend using your laptop for both the Bernie dialer and calling. Some people do VoIP because unless you have like a really good system and like amazing bandwidth, because it's very taxing. Like I tried it once and my computer just froze. I was like, ah! So I had to pick up the phone again. So basically, again, I'm going to recap that. You're going to need internet access. You're going to need a laptop or computer to access the website, and some smart tablets do work as well. And then you're going to need a phone to call into the website. And you're basically a mobile calling machine at that point. You could do it anywhere. You could do it at home. You can go places to do it. Super easy. What I'd like for you guys to do is write down this website address. And it's going to sound very familiar, but bear with me. Or yeah, what am I saying? Write it down. Everybody pulls out their smartphone, right? So it's www.berniesanders.com/phone bank. And phone bank is all one word, no space, no ing at the end. So berniesanders.com/phone bank. // yes. Thank you. Zach always makes fun of me. He's like, why do you say // I'm like, because people sometimes ask. So anyways, that's the website. And on that website is the states that we're calling. And by the way, we're about to unleash Super Tuesday states too. So right now we're just trying to clear through because we're coming up on Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. So those are the states that we're focusing on. Obviously we want to win those primaries. But soon the March 1st states will be added as well. So on that website, you can see the states that we're calling. The Bernie dialer is only open during certain hours of the day because remember, we have 160 volunteers behind the website making it happen, which is amazing. But it's usually, so I could give you the hours. It's 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. weekdays and 9 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. And remember, we're calling, for the most part, we're calling other time zones, so that works out really well. And then on that phone bank page, there's also a user guide, and the user guide does tell you the tech requirements. So if you kind of glazed over it, believe me, I'm not tech savvy at all. If I can do this, you can do this. I mean, I told you to write down a website address. Everyone pulls out their phone. That tells you how tech savvy I am. But there's the hours that you could call, and then there's a user guide, and the user guide has the tech requirements for tablets and your computer if you're not sure. I mean, if your computer is within the past 5 years, you're going to be fine. If you're trying to use something older than that, we'll come up with another way for you to reach voters, don't worry. But also too, there's a video on how to use the dialer. And there's a user guide video. Scripts. So if you want to see what the scripts are, you can check those out too, because there's different scripts for each state, because we're going to actually say in the scripting their caucus or primary date. Now, one thing that's really fun is you can do this on your own, and I do. I have to because I travel a lot, but I try to stop by at phone bank parties, because phone bank parties are way more fun in calling. Has anyone been to a phone bank party? Oh, right on. Okay, cool. So phone bank parties are great because, first of all, you get to meet other Bernie volunteers. So that's great. You know, some of the best people I've met are from phone bank parties, actually, going to them. And then also you learn from each other, and you drive each other, right? Because I could, at home, I could make some calls, stay on for a little while, but then I might think of something I need to do, and I go change laundry or do something else. But if I have like 7 other people all around me calling, and I see Bobby like still on the phone, and she's just in fuego, she's just like going, talking, then I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, I can't take a break, I gotta keep going, right? So you kind of push each other, which is great. And then you also learn from each other. So you hear things that are said, and you're like, oh, I like that, I gotta remember that. Or you might even lean over and be like, this guy said such and such, I really don't know what to say. And the other volunteer may say, well, I did this. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. So you become more effective on the phone, you're more driven on the phone, and it's more fun. And then I go to one in particular in HB if I can, where these ladies, and they're so awesome, they get together and everyone brings a bottle of wine. We have a rule though, we have a rule. No drinking and dialing, okay, no drinking and dialing. So we get through our 2 hours of calls, and then we have some wine. Yes, we do. So that's up to you if you want to add that sentiment. Some people bring food or goodies. Some people do prizes, like the most conversations. There's a lot of different things that you can do to make it even more fun. Okay, I can't even go there, but that's great.
I'm sorry she did.
However you want to lighten the mood, that's great. But yeah, so there's 2 things I don't do. No dialing and driving. I actually did try and call voters while I was on the 405. I was stuck in traffic. I had nothing to do. But after the first call, I couldn't go in and enter the information, so I had to remember the whole time. I'm like, Irma Brown, she's voting for Bernie, so I could get to the next stop and enter the information. So no driving and dialing. I don't recommend that. No drinking and dialing. I don't recommend that. Otherwise, you can have a blast with it. And to host a phone bank party, all you need is a distraction-free area with a bathroom. Okay, do have a bathroom because people might need to use that. But other than that, internet access. So distraction-free area with internet Wi-Fi access, and you're good to go. So I talked a lot about phone banking. I know I asked if some of you were interested in doing it. A lot of hands went up. Would anyone like to host a phone bank party? Raise your hand if you're interested in hosting a phone bank party. If you have a space, distraction-free with Wi-Fi that you want to bring some Bernie volunteers over to. Okay, now don't be scared. The people coming up to you, they're not coming to take you away. They're coming to give you a clipboard. And what we want you to do is fill out the top with your phone bank party information. Pick a date. And what I would recommend is pick a date 5 days or longer from now. Like the soonest would be Sunday, just to give us time to help you. We'll go, yeah, no, that's good. So you're going to pick a date, and then keep your hand up. If you're interested in hosting a phone bank party, don't be shy. Yeah, hang on 1 second. I might even answer your question here in a second, but I do want to hear it. Okay, so you want to pick a date 5 days from now or later, not too much later. Remember, the February 1st is the beginning of the seasons, of the primary season, so you want to start before then. But anytime after Sunday. And then enter your information. Now here's what we're going to do with that information. I'm actually going to have it created for you on map.berniesanders.com, and you're going to get an email with a link to your event saying, congratulations, you're the proud parent of a phone bank party. Here it is. And there's a link to the event, so you can go in and edit it. If you don't like the name of it or you want to change the date or time, that's fine too. And also the details on the training so that you're ready and you feel comfortable. But remember, people come to your phone bank party prepared. They come with their own laptop or tablet. They come with their own phone. All you need is a distraction-free space with Wi-Fi. So that being said, how many people here don't have a clipboard in front of them and want to host a phone bank party? Raise your hand. Okay, awesome. So there's a couple more. Anybody else interested in hosting a phone bank party over the next several weeks? We've got clipboards waiting.
don't think you can handle it, some of us can go and help you out.
Yes, there are people here who can help you with that, absolutely. If you're interested in having someone who's already done it, come over and help you get set up. But again, remember, people come prepared, so don't think you have to do a lot to get ready. I mean, it would be nice if you have water. That would be my, and I like tap water personally. I'm very, very easy in that regard. Okay, now, I know some of you have questions. Oh, good, all right. So if anybody that we missed with the clipboard before we ask questions about homemaking? Oh, yeah. So James brought up a good point. If you don't have your own place, there's other places you could do this. Like, any place that has Wi-Fi. I mean, I know a group that does it at Hooters. I'm just saying, yeah, in the afternoon, it's, Allentown, Pennsylvania. I think they're kind of fun there. But yeah, they go to Hooters in the afternoon. It's very quiet, not a lot of people there, and they have Wi-Fi. Any place has Wi-Fi. If you're a student and your library and your college has Wi-Fi, you could do it there. Anywhere that, you don't have to have it in your home if you don't want to. There's other options as well. Okay, so what I'd like to do, because anybody who didn't raise their hand, I have another special ask for you. So I'm just gonna, before I give that disclaimer, is there anyone else who wanted to host a phone bank party that didn't get a clipboard? Okay. All right, so before I come to the end of that, the next thing I want to ask you, I do know that there are some questions. So what I'd like to do is, let's keep the questions to phone banking specifically. If you have other types of questions, this isn't probably the moment for that. But if you have questions about phone banking, please ask them, and I know you have one. Oh, great question. The question was, do we need bilingual callers, right? Yes, we do. 19% of Nevada is registered voters, Latino voters. So definitely. What you can do, because it's hard to connect everyone, the help desk actually has a list that they're keeping. So if you email help@berniesanders.com and in the subject line put bilingual caller, and then your information, they actually add you to a list and give it to, mostly it's going to Nevada, but there are other states that are going to need that help as well. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be contacted. I just want to put that out there because one thing that's a challenge is that with voter registration records, they don't know exactly who is more comfortable speaking in Spanish. What they do is they try and do it geographically, knowing certain areas where there's concentrations, but there could be people who also speak English in those areas as well. So that's one way to identify voters that would be more comfortable speaking in Spanish. But if you do offer to do that, do keep in mind that you may also have conversations in English as well. So help@berniesanders.com, you can email them in the subject line, put bilingual caller, and then your information, and they'll add you to the list so that you can be contacted to reach out to voters that prefer to speak in Spanish. I'm glad you asked that. Any other questions about phone banking? Okay, yeah?
Can we set up our own on the website? We have to do it now.
No, you don't have to do it now. You can do it. But what's your name and where do you live? Because no, I'm kidding. I'm going to follow up. Give me your wallet. We'll go from there. Yeah. No. You can definitely do it. You don't have to sign up right now for the phone bank party. You can definitely go on map.berniesanders.com, create an event, and create your phone bank. And here's the cool thing. So there's a couple ways that we get people to your phone bank party. One is we blast the area with emails. How many people have gotten an email inviting them to a phone bank party? Oh yeah. And you all went, right? Right. Okay. Thanks for those emails. The other thing that we do is we now started texting. There's a group of volunteers. It's the Hustle program, and they're called Hustlers. I don't want to even go into that. Why? Oh wait. Okay. Hold on.
We actually use this Hustle program to get people at this event. So how many people actually received a text message from Hustle from a random number? And great, that's terrific. That was me who had texted you. So it works. It's great. Remember, it's grassroots. We can all get involved. That's how we do it.
Thank you, James. That's awesome. You should have told me that you did that before. I don't want to talk about it. All right. He's humble. Okay, so we use the Hustle program to text volunteers in your area to get them to come to your phone bank party. And then there's another thing that's called Call for Bernie volunteer tool, or turnout tool. And that is a link that you can go to and put in your email address, and it pulls up your event. And then it gives you like 20 people in your neighborhood, literally in your neighborhood, to call that are Bernie supporters, volunteers, to come to your phone bank party. And this sounds crazy, I know, but does anybody get emails occasionally from Becky Bond? Yeah, okay. Becky does, we all do phone banking. And Becky did a phone bank party at her place, and she, one of the people that she called using that tool, she lives in an apartment, was like 1 floor down and like 3 doors over, and never knew that they were a Bernie volunteer, and they came to her phone bank party, and now they're like phone banking regularly kind of thing. So that's a cool tool as well. So there's ways that we use to get people to your phone bank party. And remember, it's a party, so you gotta have fun with it. All right, so now, after I've said that, is there anyone we missed who wanted to set up a phone bank party and didn't get a clipboard? Raise your hand if that's the case. Okay, all right, so now for everyone who didn't, well, first of all, let's do this. For those of you that did set up a phone bank party right now, can you stand up? All right, awesome. Congratulations, yeah. That is so amazing. Okay, don't get down. No, you're stand back up. This is gonna be fun. You're gonna love this. So here's the thing. I know that many of you are like, I'm just not sure, or I can't host a party, but you really want to call voters. And so here's what we can do. We can actually add your RSVP right now. So I'd like let's see here. Where are you? Jorge, where are you at? Lake Elsinore. If anyone wants to go to a phone bank party in Lake Elsinore, come see Jorge. Where are you guys? Riverside. Where in Riverside?
Oh, Moreno Valley.
Moreno Valley, Riverside.
State Street, Starbucks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You want some coffee and you want a phone bank? Come see what's your name again? Grace. Why do I have to ask again? I asked you already. All right. Okay, so go see them if you want to do it. Coming over here. Scared of the speakers, but I'll try. All right. You have one. Where?
I live at the UV, pretty much Gray Mark, like 5 minutes away.
Awesome. Okay. Anyone want a phone bank 5 minutes away with Hannah? Come on over here and RSVP. Okay, where are you at? Europa Valley? Aruba Valley, sorry. Okay, anyone, what's your name? Rebecca. Anyone want to come to Rebecca's phone bank party in Europa Valley? Come over here.
Actually move.
Move, yes, please feel free. You don't have to wait for us to like give a bell or a green light or anything.
Yeah, we had 2 more.
Oh, okay, hang on. Okay, hold on. Where are you at? Banning, Beaumont. Wow, you drove far too. Right on. Well, for me it is. I'm in Costa Mesa. That's awesome. All right, Banning, Beaumont. Fantastic. And what's your name? Aslan. Come see Aslan. UC Riverside. Oh, UCR. Okay, right here. You want to go to phone bank party? Moreno Valley? Awesome. Gina's 22 minutes away in Moreno Valley if you want to go to her phone bank party. Now don't leave because I've got another surprise for you. But this is the time to get up. And if you don't want to go to that phone bank party, but that's your neighborhood, go talk to that person anyway. Okay, now I missed some people up front who are mad at me. Hold on. Okay. I thought you guys were all together. It's just one big party. My bad. Okay, where are you guys at?
I'm in Moreno Valley in Sunnymead Ranch. It's going to be at my parents' house where I live. They're probably not going to know we're going to be there, so it's 1 to 4 on the 25th. They're going to be at work. I'm just kidding. I'm going to ask them first. But yeah. And mine, but this is for real, mine is going to have pizza. Okay. Yeah.
Pizza.
I'm at.
You just stole my volunteer.
All right, I'm at Riverside, right near Mission Grove, so 10 minutes that way, on Alessandro, and yeah.
Come see Anthony if you. Okay, what? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
His starts the same day 1 hour after mine, so we can go to my house, have pizza, then go to his house and have cookies.
That's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Is there anyone I missed who has a phone bank party that I didn't say their city? Where? I did? Yes? Yes, okay.
Riverside, kind of over by the California School for the Deaf.
Okay, Riverside, over by the California School for the Deaf. What's your name? Candy has a party going on. Come phone bank over Riverside by the School for the California School for the Deaf. Got it. Oh, you got one more. Oh, and Yolanda has one in Chino Hills. All right, so Chino Hills, anyone from there want to come over or nearby? Come on down, okay?
Have a party really close to here near UCR. Nice. And I'll be providing snacks.
What's your name?
My name's Heather.
Okay, awesome. Now, did I miss anybody? Anybody else? Did we get you? I did, okay, all right, didn't miss anyone? Okay, so guys, I noticed a lot of sitting, and this isn't a movie theater, so listen up. If you heard an area that you're interested in going to that phone bank party, please see that person. Let's RSVP. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Now, we are going to come back and do something at the end here, but take a moment, and if you're not going to the party, at least talk to that person. I mentioned some areas, and all the hosts, do stand up and get out in the center there so people can see you. Take a moment, just a couple minutes, talk to each other, and RSVP. Let's do some phone banking. All right, so how many phone bank parties? 16? 16! Now think of it this way, right? So let's say the 16 phone bank parties, that you end up having 10 people that show up. That's 160 volunteers calling into early primary states, averaging about 20 conversations an hour. Now, you see, that is like the magic right there. That is a volunteer-driven campaign. That is the political revolution that Bernie's talking about. So well done, guys. I'm glad you stayed because we're actually not done. I know some people left. That's a bummer. They're going to miss out on some good stuff. But there's also other things that you can do. So I get this question a lot, like, and some people have reasons they can't call, and I understand that. But there's other things you can do. So I mentioned that we're a volunteer-driven campaign. We really are. And you heard about that team behind the scenes that keeps the Bernie dialer working so those calls keep coming to you. That's one group that you can join. It's called the Monitor Team. They monitor the Bernie dialer. There's also another team, Data Entry. That's a team of volunteers all over the country. They're together though, they work together. And they're gonna take this information, plug it into map.berniesanders.com, add your RSVPs. So it's another team that you can join if you're interested, and that doesn't require talking to anybody if you don't wanna do that, which is okay. There's many ways that we can help Bernie get in the office. There's another team. I'm just going to go through a couple of these teams. So if you're interested in any of them, I'm going to try and get the link sent to everybody who RSVP'd to the event. Okay, so if you're interested in these special volunteer teams that work directly with the campaign. So I mentioned the Monitor Team that helps run the Bernie dialer, the Data Entry Team that does things like this, which is awesome. We also have an event scheduling and maintenance team. They call phone bank hosts, so all of you phone bank hosts should get a call before your event, asking if you have questions, confirming the details, asking if you have any questions about the dialer, and thanking you for your time. So it's just kind of making sure that you're set and ready to go. That's the ESM team, event scheduling and maintenance. We also have the Hustle team. So if you really want to go low energy on Bernie volunteer activities for the campaign, all you have to do is text. That's a fun one, right? And that's how some people got here, was the Hustle team. We also have the Call for Bernie team. That's where you call other volunteers who have hosted phone bank parties in the past and ask them if they'd like to do it again and set it up for them on the phone right then and there. And I'm missing a team here. Let's see. Oh, I did data entry. Oh, help desk. Hello. That's a big one. That team. Okay, so the help desk is amazing. Those are volunteers, and they've grown quite a bit. So I know when people think, oh, email the help desk, I'll never hear back. Actually, you do. Their response time is now, most questions are under 50 minutes.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing. Now, if you ask them a tough question, so think of it this way, 80% of the questions that come to the help desk, they have the answer. But if you ask a tough question, they're going to have to escalate it to get someone on the campaign to answer. So that might take a little longer. What I love about the help desk is they have to know everything about everything. So that is kind of like the gladiator team of special volunteers, because it's a lot of commitment. They're usually working long hours throughout the week, staying on top of all the updates. But because of that, they know everything that's going on. So they're also kind of the great gossipers too. I talk to the help desk all the time. I'm like, what's going on? And they'll tell me because they know. So those are all the special teams. And you know, when I say special, it's not that they're any more special than anything else we're doing, because there's everybody's doing wonderful stuff that's helping Bernie, and that's the magic right there. That's what makes it possible for Bernie to win the White House. But these teams do work together, and if you're interested in any of them, watch for a link after this event. It's going to probably take a couple days because poor data entry's got to enter all this information first before we can get it. But watch for an email inviting you to join any of those teams if you would like. So other things you can do. Now, I don't want to deter from the activities that you're currently doing, okay? So if you're doing flyering, canvassing, honkin' waves, I've seen Dance for Bernie, Blues for Bernie, whatever you're doing, keep doing those things too, because that's how we get more folks to help, right? I mean, that's how I got involved, that's how people I know got involved. It was somebody we knew that was like, hey, I'm doing this event, you should come. We're gonna be, we're gonna canvass at a campus, we're gonna have a table and hand out flyers and talk to people. And so it gets more people involved so that we can continue to grow as a volunteer group, because that's what's going to get Bernie in the White House. It's not the money, we know that, because Bernie can't be bought. It's us. We're getting Bernie in the White House.
That's the revolution.
That's the revolution. Absolutely. All right, now I really want to take a picture of this group, and so we're going to do this in a fun way. But before we do that, I'm going to take just a couple questions because I know we are definitely coming up on the end. So what I'd like to just paraphrase, okay? 2 things. One, I'm only going to take a couple questions because I can see people already leaving, and I want to make sure we get a picture of everybody so I can send it to that lovely gal in Vermont and go, this is the IE. This is Riverside. Okay? All right? But I have to give you a disclaimer. There's questions I can't answer, okay? So let me give you the list, okay? If it's to tell Bernie something, ask why Bernie says something, or to give Bernie a special note, I don't have that ability. This is about as close as I get to Bernie, generally speaking. In fact, I might take him home with me, actually. Yeah, so if it's anything about that, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do to help that. If it's about fundraising, you really want to email that to help@berniesanders.com because the FEC rules are so strict about certain types of fundraising that if I say one little thing wrong, it's not just me being fired, it actually could hurt the campaign. So I don't talk about fundraising either, I apologize. But anything else, specifically home banking or canvassing in Nevada, those areas are my area of expertise, so I can definitely answer questions about that. We're just going to take a couple questions and then do a picture. So if you have a question, raise your hand. I see you do over here.
I'm looking for the group leaders around the Inland Empire. I think I might have spoke with you. You were going to come to my house for a sign making party for the Rose Parade. Your head, yes, it got canceled. I got sick. Anyway, we're going to put a fundraiser together to raise money for a billboard in Alco, Nevada, and if we can raise enough, it's going to be also for Carson City because Obama won 14 delegates to Hillary's 11, even though she was winning Nevada in 2008. He went after the rural voters. That's where the delegates are going to be won. And I know phone banking is huge, and I'm glad everybody's doing that. We try to reach out to a lot of people. Richard Macias, I'm with Latinos for Burn IE. I think some of you know me, some of you don't. So if you guys are group leaders, you guys want to get involved, get your groups involved, please come and see us after this. Because we don't have much time, we got to put a fundraiser together to try to raise at least a couple $1,000s to get a billboard for at least a week before the Nevada caucus, or the primary, rather. Anyway.
That's awesome, yeah. All right, well, thank you, Rich. Yeah, and I've actually been to Elko. Elko's kind of fun, so I would love to go and see a billboard of Bernie in Elko. Okay, any other questions? Yes?
I was just wondering what the campaign's going to do about delegates.
Great question. What the campaign is going to do about delegates? I don't have specific information about that, but do keep on berniesanders.com and watch. And then also too, there's going to be a flood of emails when we get closer to our primary because we do bring the delegates to Bernie. We will be that dessert for him for sure, a big dessert, which is why I love California. Great question. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all right. So now we need to do a picture. Oh wait, sorry, hold on, one more.
So actually, a lot of the websites that she mentioned, if you did have the chance, there's this flyer in black and white that was out at the table. It has the complete breakdown of all of those websites that you talked about. And on the reverse side, it has the contact Facebook groups of the local areas that I know about. So they're all put together. So if you did get one of these, and if you didn't, we can email it, blast out, so that you have it all in one little page. Okay? Is that good? Yes. All right. Give CC a round of applause, you guys.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, guys. All right, so now we gotta show, and I want to make sure that this picture gets to Zach and Becky and Claire and Corbin. Let me grab my phone. Yes. Yeah. We're not really that close, but I'm gonna try. I want to, definitely. And you know what? That's possible. So what I think would be probably best is maybe we all come up. Let's all come up here. Everybody, come on up. Let's do this picture. Come up to the front. I'm going to go to the back and stand on a chair very carefully. Come on up for the picture. Even though I'm going the wrong way, don't mind me. And you can stand up on the stage, yes. That's why I figured the front would be good, because we could see more layers of people.